How would you like to make your first million? Today we have Florian Kemmerich with us, joining from Geneva, which is so beautiful. I love it there. So Florian is an impact investor, entrepreneur, and author of On Vocation: How to Align Your Purpose with Your Profession. He is the founder of VOCATING, a human agency operating system helping individuals translate identity into income in the age of artificial intelligence. So, Florian, tell us, what are the 5 steps you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
That's a great question, Harry, and thank you for having me. So, number one, you need to find something where you can right a wrong. Something out there you want to fix, you want to change. Yeah. Otherwise, why would you do it? Yeah. And if you find that right to wrong, basically how you fix something, that brings me to the second point. You need to be adamant about it. It's something you really, really care. Yeah, to get the full mile, you really focus on them because this will light your fire. Ideally, brings me then to the third point. If you resolve something from a market perspective, yeah, also from a purpose perspective, because you will right the wrong, then of course you have to look at the market itself. Is there a need? Yeah, so that's one of the pieces where very often people go out doing a business, believing in something, but at the end, if not, you will have a heavy push, a lot of money spent. But if there is a need, the pull ratio will be much stronger. The next one is, of course, for me, it is not all about you, it's your team. Yeah, if you really play as a team and you bring A players with you and you have a great relationship and you have egos down, empathy up, and really focusing outside, yeah, the focus is then therefore not only on the shareholder, it is on the stakeholder. Yeah, that is the fourth point, which brings me to the fifth. Cash is king. Whenever you can do something, yeah, you don't go around be stingy or spend time. If you want to drive something fast and hammer it out quickly, whatever you can get there on the side is cash is king, because you have the greatest attention and they run out of fuel, and all of them is for nothing. So those are my 5 suggestions.
Florian, I want to expand one in your point number 4, which is keep your ego down. We have an issue with this because all entrepreneurs, okay, we all have ego. Otherwise, we won't be entrepreneurs. We think that we can do better. However, especially in the startup phase, you as an investor, when you have that founder that he had that ego, that it comes to you as an investor and tell you, Florian, you don't understand, my product is going to change the world. My product is the best. And I just need your money to sell it. And by the way, I haven't sold any yet. And it doesn't matter. My product is different and it's going to change the world. You are lucky that you are in this company with me. Yeah. So what message, Florian, do you have? Because I hang around a lot with the startup community. I'm one of the this podcast also. A lot of tech founders and founders in general listen to it. And I'm so honored that we have investors like you coming to a podcast to share with them how actually it works, what is actually makes sense to investors. So what message do you have for those entrepreneurs with the big ego and no sales? I can introduce you 200,000 like this.
It's a great comment you're doing, Harry. Ego, we all have egos. Ego protects us. Ego shields us. Ego makes us to push through. But there's a limit. Because if it's all about you and you go a narcissistic way because you want to shine, you're not serving a customer. You're not resolving something. It's just you bulldozing through. So it's a fine line where you have to temper your ego, because ego is not equal to passion. There's two things. Yeah. And this is where a big recommendation goes. If you focus on something, you have to put yourself in the shoes of the others, because otherwise you will not develop something, come up with something which is actually solving for, which makes the world a better place, which is something you really care about, something buyers, or customers will really want. And there's a fine line, because a lot of those egos, you've seen a lot of startups at the end failing. Big ego got hurt, ego is not nurtured, down goes, and I move on, and I do something else with my ego. So one of the big pieces, if you are looking from an investor perspective, you want to see, is the person so adamant that he goes all the mile? Does he have the stamina? Even then when it's hard, you still keep going. Yeah, because you have to be running like in sports. I did a lot of years, high-end sports. I was in the Bundesliga in Germany in judo, not football. Yeah, I was in a national team. Yeah. And so that is, if you're in the green anxiety zone, that's when you win. You have to be out of comfort zone. You have to be in the green anxiety zone, but not the red. Because if you're in the red, you have so-called amygdala hijack, because the amygdala takes the blood away from the prefrontal cortex and you're dead. And so you need to be out of comfort zone. You need to be okay with that and comfortable, but this is not ego related. It might look like, but therefore you have to manage your ego, because it's just all about you. Quickly, an investor will say, I don't believe him. It's too much selfish things. He need to resolve something. He need to deliver a product, and he need to serve a customer.
Yeah. And Florian, but the reason we all been there, even me, right, at the first, because when we are entrepreneurs, we don't know what we're doing, right? And then you being an employee, and now you have this tiny business that's making you money, and you think that you're a big deal. The problem is that when the company expand, my first 2 years in entrepreneur, my company was like this: hey, I'm Harry here, I'm a big deal, everybody need to do what I say. And Florian, I'm so exhausted, because everything need to run with me, 177 clients and all the team, and everybody need to run everything. I don't trust anybody. I'm the big deal. I have a bigger ego, and I'm so tired that after 2 years as a survivor, I say, okay, hold on a minute. Yeah. And on top of that, my team is going out for a drink, and they are not inviting me, which I hate it. So I'm thinking in my house, I'm tired. And on top of all this, I'm so exhausted. I'm doing everything. I hate them design Facebook. Then going, and on top of that, they go for dinner. They're inviting me. This is something wrong. So that was my biggest nightmare. So I say, okay, let's have a different approach. My first thing was like this: I can sleep more. Yeah. So I took one of the managers, and I said, Eva, from now you Harry. She's like, what? Yes. So what that mean? Okay, that means that everybody want to speak with Harry. From now on, we'll speak with you. And you take the decision, and whatever you decide is fine. You don't have to tell me. It's okay. That's you, Eva, you're Harry from now on. So I say, okay, fine. And then little by little, when the team start to come with problems, I say, okay, let's do something. Just propose 3 solutions. Okay. Propose 3 solutions. And after you propose these 3 solutions, then we pick the first solution, right? We pick the solution that is more suitable for you. And then little by little, they start to get ownership of uh, the company, and they start to develop themselves as leaders. And guess what happened? One day I arrived to the office, and they told me, Harry, we don't need you, go home. We can grow this company without you. And actually, I was happy. Number one, that they invite me to go for a drink back again. And also, I was so happy that in fact, they were better than me. And I realized that it's not about me, it's not about the ego, it's about them. And the company grew. because I'm only one person. So now it's not even that I did that so I can sleep more. They literally send me home. So I have to go through this process, Florian, but it's kind of by accident. I didn't out of survival. Do you know any resources or anything that entrepreneurs can? Because this is just a story that I'm sharing with you, right? But there is, do you know any process or any when you bring startups on board? Because this is serious. I realize that this is a big, this only the thing can kill or make the company succeed. And especially when in the startup phase. So any resources that you can share or any process or anything that you can share with our founders regarding this?
Again, first of all, thank you for sharing your story. And in your story, you just basically explained that your success was not your ego. Your success was your team. You picked people who could perform better than you in the long run. And I, as an investor, I want to see this. That's not just the person shining, the big ego shining. No, I want to see what's the team, what's the cohesion of the team. Do they understand it? Can they sustain pressure? Can they keep going? Because this is exactly, it is not the ego. And you, as a founder, you have to sell your vision. People have to excite. It has to be contagious. You sell a dream. You sell something where you say, this is where you're going out. We're going to conquer this market. There's a big need, and we will change the world. And that's where you get high intrinsic motivation. That's why people are not there for the money as a primary driver. Yes, of course, we will all gamble, and if things go well, we're all happy. But the main driver is actually that you change the world. Yeah, this is when you have these companies also on the leaders where people go, is as much more than the money. It's the journey. It's the things you do to change the world. So in that side, Terry, I think what you state here is a beautiful example because again, one of my favorite citations is from an author called Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, which people know from The Little Prince. But the sentence I like most is, he says, if you want to build a ship, don't drum up people to collect wood. Don't assign them task and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. And that's the part where the leader coming with a vision and people adhere to and follow. And they trust that your vision is the right one. And then you go into the details and hammer it down, but you share a vision, you have an alignment. And that makes it very, very special. Because at the end, you don't know exactly. You have a plan and the plan has to be adjusted. It's never exactly, a lot of things you learn as you go. But the beauty of this is, yes, you have sleepless nights. And yes, sometimes you have to sleep and somebody has to take over. So you cannot just be the only one. But this is where things, I believe, get really exciting. Because that's when you have a big cohesion, empathy is up, and you really want to conquer the world.
So, Florian, and one more thing that I would like to that I want you to comment on is regarding out of the 500 millionaires that we interview in this podcast, 1 out of 5 are tech millionaires, have tech businesses, right? And our listeners, they might have the wrong impression that become a millionaire in tech is easy, especially now in the world of AI. And some people are saying out there that because it's AI is out there, it's easier than ever to create an MVP. But at the same time, because AI is out there, in my opinion, when a big tech use AI, they are 1,000 times more powerful than you. So tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly of tech entrepreneurs, and if it's true that is so easy become a millionaire in tech, or what is? Give us a reality check. for our founders.
Harry, it's a great comment. So actually myself, 3 months ago, I pivoted again. I was on investor side. Yeah, we did a lot of things. And I decided 3 months ago to do an agentic AI startup from scratch. Why? Because of my kids. Because what I've seen in the past, I've written a book, as you mentioned, On Vocation, because I like for people to identify the purpose and then make it your profession, because it's the biggest driver you can have. But in the past, purpose was doing good first. I need to make money, and then I can do good, which is fundamentally wrong, and especially in AI. Yeah, just recently, the CEO of Palantir, Alex Carr, what did he say? 2 people will succeed in the AI economy: neurodivergent people and people with purpose. Because all others will ask the machine why and what to do something. And then you end up somewhere because of an algorithm. One of the key economic assets, as we're moving from a knowledge economy after the last industrial revolution, First, Second World War, yeah, with the big blow, depression, and the war, and then the reality kicks in, it has been a knowledge economy. You needed to be at the right place, have enough money or access to knowledge over years, studies, do a job, get seniority, because it takes time for you to learn and retain that knowledge. That is all over. Knowledge is at your fingertip. Now we're moving from a knowledge economy into a creator economy. So you can create so easy, so fast something, but you have a gazillion people around you doing the same. It is, I live in Switzerland. World Economic Forum clearly says you will have now 500 million people losing their good middle-class white-collar jobs. Students out of university will go out and have no longer an entry-level job because you don't need youngsters anymore. And I've lived it last year. Last year, we did a management buyout of a company. It was a consulting company in the impact investing advisory space. We flipped the company with AI, automated everything, 70% of the people out, immediately profitable. Yeah, much better, much faster. And that was in May last year. And I said, if this will do everyone, which is happening right now, it's normal, because if you can lower your cost of doing business, you will not need that many people because AI caters to it. And that changes fundamentally the world we're living in. Everything. So the way my economic value was created through the knowledge I have is no longer. It's what can I do with the knowledge? How can I be creative? So this means also linear path of old way Gen X. As a Gen Xer, what do you do? You study, you take an entry-level job, you get a seniority, and at a certain moment, you become an entrepreneur. It is gone. You need now to test and try. And the key economic value actually is now your purpose. It is your vocation. Because when you know what your purpose is, you can very quickly use all the technology and cater to you. So it's a fundamental change. And that is, by the way, Harry, I have 5 kids. Yeah, I was worried about their future and how to actually succeed economically. My eldest daughter perfectly did it. She knows her vocation. She caters, she studied, she tested around that, and her life is good. My youngsters right now, they say, what do I study? And my daughter says, law school. I said, honey, law school, I don't know. Law is one of these things, it's very hard to learn a lot, but now, there's not a lot of opportunity for you in law school. And she goes, okay. Yeah, so you see this discussion having with my youngster. That's when I said, Harry, I have developed my own methodology of many years, because at the age of 33, I was in a hired gun job. I had the success my parents wanted me. I was running a company, I had a house and a family. And I said, I don't know myself. This is not my life. Actually, I found out that I have been the absent subject of my own education. My education gave me the tools to make a living in the knowledge economy, but not to tell me how to live my life. And that's when I did a journey. And so I've developed a methodology for people, and it's proven over and over again, accomplished people or young people, that you can basically go Take your identity, you understand it, and it becomes your primary driver because you know what you want to solve for. And that in AI was basically for me saying, my kids are no longer reading books. If my kids do not know their identity, they have a problem going forward. So therefore, I basically flipped the whole thing and I created an Agentic AI tool for people to find their identity and to monetize it out there. And it's all the way through, and it's agentic. You talk, and it's responsive. Yeah, and that's the startup I do. Why do I do this? Because I see something I need to fix now, and that makes me say, okay, I stop everything else, double it, and I do it again because the moment is there. It's a huge market opportunity. Yeah, with all the wipeout, with all the reskilling of labor in general around that, with 1% of the world population in the past have been entrepreneurs. It will be over 20% because you can have never been easier, faster, and more precise to actually innovate and cheap. And so this is where now it's a totally different mindset, how you actually capture value in the AI economy.
And Florian, regarding creating the agentic AI tools and engines, have been a challenge because I think AI had different levels and everyone is using AI, but I would say that 90%, 95% of the people, what they're doing, just prompting, just answering the question and prompting and getting a response. But completely different ball game is to have a team of agents that interact into each other and based into the background that you train that agent give you a desired outcome. This requires a little more skills, a more skill set, and it is not as easy as looks like to create that. I'm telling you because our team's working on that. And at the beginning, we thought, oh, this is easy. Well, my director told me, I said, Harry, it's not easy. Who said that it was easy? I said, no, everybody's saying that it's easy. Well, it's not. It's easy to prompt, it's easy to have, but to create an agentic AI tool that actually works, a lot of elements go into the question. So, Florian, tell us a little bit more about what it's gonna take to create a solid agentic AI that actually produce results. Do you think with prompting would be enough?
So it is not. And if you go to the app we've developed, the MVP, you have 11 agents below. And we have trained.
Oh, wow. That's not easy.
No, and the
Wow.
11 agents, yes.
11.
Yes,
oh, wow.
and you have a PhD level agent for psychology, a PhD level agent for coaching, a PhD level for education, a PhD level. So all of that is done. Now, the interaction is very easy because you have an avatar like Duolingo. He talks to you or she talks to you and you respond. And back and forth and back and forth. Next wave. Okay, back and forth. First, you learn about yourself. Second, you learn and you figure out what your purpose is. Third, with your background, your identity, and your purpose, what you can do in the real world today. And then you do your plan, only talking. So this 2 years ago was not possible. This also means we need less people, but as you say, it's a very different skill set of how you look at a thing, because you don't need a gazillion frames, which are rigid, and which give you information and an answer. This is, you need to talk and you need to challenge. And so for me, Harry, when I tested this MVP, I've written a book. I've learned about myself of many years, personal development. I know my identity. We trained the agents. And then for me was the aha moment. I go in and with some simple prompts, let's see if the agent figures out who am I. And bingo. I made it even hard. Short prompts, short sentence, little information, and he got me to the point. So Harry, that's the point where it's very exciting, the things you can do with agentic AI, but it's fundamentally different. And that's also why the old programming, the old coding, all shifts, because you have to be looking at from an intelligence point of view very different. And you have to be very smart on how to train an agent in order to do, as you say, what you want them to do.
100%, Florian. And I think that this is when your knowledge comes into place because, okay, you have 11 agents interacting on your platform, but on top of that, you design not only which 11 agents, you're gonna have there, one with PhD in psychology, but then that specific agent with a PhD in psychology, it has to be trained effectively in order to interact not only with you when you're speaking, but with the other 10 agents that they have another different background. And to train the agent effectively, Florian, you need to know about the topic. You need to know about, because you need to know if the agent is performing good or not. So now is that all the tool that Florian did is easy with AI, anyone can do it. Well, anyone can put 11 agents, but train those 11 agents and design who is going to be these 11 agents and how they're going to perform, and know when one agent is saying is not performing, and train it until it performs. So this is where the intellectual property lies. This is where the skill, and this is where the experience of the entrepreneur counts. So like I said before, everybody out there, every time that you see in the social media, oh, it's easy to create this agent, it's easy. Well, it's easy to create it. What is difficult is to train them for a desired outcome, because in order to train them, number one, you need to know what you're doing. Okay. So tell us a little bit, Florian, because like I always said, like if AI have like 10 levels, level 3 is prompting. If you're a sophisticated prompter, we can say you're level 3. If you're prompting whatever, 1 or 2. And then you have this level 10, 9, 10, which is what you are. Then actually you develop something that works, that do the desired outcome. And you have like 11 strong advisors or team members with the huge expertise that combine produce an outstanding result. So tell us the journey between step 3 to 11 to step 9. Yeah. How what can you share with the entrepreneurs? Okay, or what is gonna take to get one agent well trained and perform, which is, I think, goes from level 3 to level 9, because it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5 levels in order to train one agent properly. So tell us a little bit more about this.
Yeah, it's a great question, Harry. So the thing is also the methodology itself, I developed over many years, and it's empirically.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. That's so for starting. The methodology is based in your own architecture.
Correct. And I've tested it over many years with many people. Yeah, it's 7 steps. Yeah, and I can walk you through the 7 steps. Yeah, and then also, if you read my book, you see my story. I put it vulnerable out there, but then the science of what I call vocating, because again, according to me, if you dedicate yourself professionally to your vocation, you vocate. And there's a science behind, and then there's the 7 steps. And behind the science, you need to know that every human being between the age of 2 and 6 years, when you're cognizant, something happens which sticks and stays for you for your life. And it comes back. And normally it's something you do not like. It doesn't have to be traumatic, but you do not like it. And if you flip this is something you want to fix. I told you, you want to right the wrong. And if you understand this, because the education doesn't help us on that, We get sucked in and bogged down in school and education about, skill set and make money and have a success, and all of that is now changing. But that's your imprint. That's a so-called script. And if you know your imprint, because it gives your life a meaning and it stays all the life with you. And I've built on that and exercises. Yeah, and there's science behind it. It's not just me inventing it, it's me, I discovered it and then worked on it. So basically all of these science, I said, we put into an agentic AI. Yeah, my vision was to do a Duolingo to Vocate, which is fine on the Duolingo side, but Duolingo is still originally static because it's made before the agentic AI. Now you have the agents below, and you need to train each agent on each becomes a subject matter expert. And then you need to make sure how they talk so that the experience for the user is easy. It's gamified. It's fun, the interaction. But below, you have the smartest people, let's say agents behind. And by the way, the agents have no human bias. If you go to a therapist, there's a human bias. Yeah, you don't. And that's also why the agent is not telling you what to do. It's a reflection. You just go and it's you discover who you are through that. And so this is the part where the journey begins actually to be interesting. Again, I cannot say that I did this alone. No, I have a very smart co-founder who understands how to translate that, not an agentic AI. We have a tech team and we have our CTO who understands agentic AI, but this is where you combine components of people who know something, but they're always checking with me, is this the architecture? Are we going by the book? Are we step by step? All of that is being matched to make sure that the outcome is actually as we intended in a slower, manual way before going technology. But it's really, really interesting.
And then the secret is, Florian, about how to train this high knowledge, skillful agent, right? And in order to train that, it had to be encapsulated in a knowledge base. And I think that the difference also that lies is, let's say, if one of your agent is a psychologist, right? Well, what kind of content or what kind of material this psychology has been trained on that will overperform heading to the bigger goal. And again, in knowledge and expertise goes into this, which have nothing to do with tech. Is that correct? Training your agent that. So tell us a little bit more about this.
But that's the point. You don't need the programmer or the coder, because now AI does this. Yes, you need some, and you have a robustness. It's not that it's totally, but you need much less people. In the past, now for my company here, for mine, I have basically 7 people. That's it. Yeah. And maybe in the marketing later, I do once we really push to scale, but right now I don't need more. In the past, it was very different. It took a much longer, much more iterations. It was riches with wireframes, with information, with, and again, in our side, in order for me to be trained on the things I'm getting trained here, there were 240 different questions to be answered, and it's rigid, and then I have to go again. Now it's not necessary. So that's exactly the point, Harry. The beauty of this one is, if you're neurodivergent, or if you have a purpose because you want to resolve something for, it's beautiful because suddenly with agentic AI, you are smart, you have an idea and a vision, and you can actually execute it if you have the 2 or 3 people around you, who make sure that this actually can come out with a robust MVP. But the origin, I'm not a tech guy from the past. I'm not a coder, but I have a methodology I developed over many years, which I know works, and now we just translated it into agentic AI and put these, into a journey, and the outcome is much better, much more precise, very fast with very little input. And this is really the beauty of the new world we're stepping into, because you will see thousands of people, and you don't have to be mature necessarily. You could be very young, have a brilliant idea of something you want to fix or something you want to resolve, and suddenly you start doing this, and you don't need as much money, because you're much more precise because you do the market research with AI, to look out what's there, you test, you go back and forth, and therefore I think it's a very fascinating world we're entering into. But of course, there are also a lot of things which will hit humanity very hard in a negative way.
Florian, what can you tell us more about your book? What is your favorite chapter, and why you decide to write this book? And also expand a little bit more in this term, neurogenetics.
No, neurodivergent.
Oh my God. So neurodivergent. What that means? Neurodivergent.
Basically, you had people which were, for example, very intelligent, or people which had a different thought, or people which would be ADHD, or people, you have a lot of people which would not fit in the normal way of just accumulating knowledge, and then executing this. And these people in the previous economy had a hard time socially, hard time to be understood, and hard time to get things done. Now with AI, very easy. You have it, you do it. That's a huge opportunity. So if you go back to now on my side, I have a big sense of purpose. My leitmotif in life is impact lives, share profits. And I've done that in many ways, in different ways, also on the impact investing side, when you use capital as a force for good. You can use business as a force for good. You can use leadership as a force for good, because you want to resolve something for the sake of humanity or the planet with a business and making money. In the past, it was all seen, this is like you do good and you do philanthropy, which is not. And suddenly in the AI world, this is beautiful, because I can just hammer down, I can create, people see the value, it's profitable, and it changes. It provides, really tools to change, to trigger change around there. So for me, on my book is 7 steps and guides people. And the first step is the most important one. Because the first one, you do personal development, you know who you are. How do you function emotionally, mentally, and instinctively? Because we do not know. Nobody teaches us that in our education. Zero. There's no vocational education. You have some thoughts and some things, but again, I'm just saying, the second thing is, if you decide on fame, fortune, and power, you will only nourish your ego. You will have a cliff later on and fall off the cliff. If you do sports, if you do arts, if your main driver is fame, fortune, or power, which nourishes your ego, you will fall off the cliff. That's just what it is. If your main driver is your intuition, because you love what you do, because it's your vocation, it's very different. So therefore, this is a very big important component. You know who you are, what your identity. You then see what you can actually contribute to the world, and then the journey starts. And this is, for me, the step 1 is the basis. And that was, for me, the hardest one to crack on agentic AI, I thought, and it's actually not. If you put the science in there, if it's well trained and well contextualized, the agents, suddenly it's absolutely perfect story, and it makes sense and you understand it. And this is what I'm most excited about.
Florian, and anything that you can share or to our listeners, how you train good an agent, right? Like you said, conceptualize. And what was the other term that you? So tell us, for example, what it's gonna take, in your opinion, to train an agent that delivers. I think that you mentioned something really powerful, which is well conceptualized. What else? What is it gonna take for real? First, knowledge and experience, right? Okay, you tell it. You tell what it's gonna take.
But it's two key ingredients. It's the science, so it's the knowledge, but the knowledge scientifically proven. Yeah, that's the information you provide to an agent. You train an agent like a PhD in psychology, but you don't want to talk all psychology. You want to contextualize it. It is in a context. And the context is saying, okay, what is the outcome I want to have? What is a portion of the subset information which I need to train the agent on? I'm not training the agent to be a psychotherapist. Not my goal. We are in the ed tech space. We train people on their identity to then have success financially, professionally in the market. So it's a subset of context you provide where you take the science and the context to steer it in a specific outcome. So when you talk to the agent doesn't go like Claude or ChatGPT in all directions, whatever you want to say, and goes back and forth. No, you want to stay in a frame with an outcome, which is the context you provide to the agent.
Then, Florian, that context, for example, right? Let me see if I understand. As your agent, of your tool, right? Specialize in help people to find their own identity, which, by the way, I think is key, and we can have a full podcast only about this. A full podcast. That's how important is this. It's actually who you are, who you're gonna be, how you're gonna reflect in your business, how you're gonna reflect in your life. And gets even more interesting, Florian. It came to my attention that part of your identity of who you are, because I train, one of the things that I do, I train thousands of people all over the world to become the fear of public speaking, right? And dealing with people with fear, okay? And I thought that we all have this fear because when we are kids, all our parents are telling us, hey, don't talk to strangers. So, and then goes accumulating. So you had that fear of speaking with one stranger, you might speaking from thousands of them, right? But it came to my attention that sometimes, even before 0 to 5, and also when you are in the womb of your mom, some incidents can happen that walk you out of your real identity. And it's already, and it takes time for you to find yourself. For example, you shared with me, like, okay, Harry, when it was my business, I spent up to 30 years and rowing this way, until I realized that this is not me. And then I decided to do personal development until I find myself, right? So it's very interesting topic that to find your own self, sometimes you and I've been also there as well, by the way, right? Like you're living your life like a machine, you're running your business like a machine, everything runs in a certain way, then you start to find patterns, okay? And then, okay, we have to, this ego thing, what's going on? Why this big ego? What is going on? And finally, eventually, if you do the work, which for me took me a lot of years and literally millions of dollars to me, until you finally come to realize who you are and what in the world, what you want to become, is not easy. So now it comes to that you have to provide to this agent, let's say the psychology, just the PhD knowledge, but only specific to this topic.
That is correct.
But also validate with your knowledge. No,
yes,
no, ChatGPT said that this is the good topic, whatever. It's validated for the knowledge of the founder. And if you have all these ingredients, then Florian, I think we'd actually do the outcome you decide, right?
Yes, and again, Harry, so
Otherwise, it's gonna be a headache because we play a little bit with the thing in the light space. Oh my God! And my IT director called me Harry. This is not as easy as you told us. This is gonna take a lot.
But that's the point, Harry. So the point is the following: we do not know what you just cited before is called transaction analysis. In psychology, transaction analysis, you have an inner child, you have an inner adult, and an inner parent. And the conditioning to a big portion comes between the age of 2 and 6. And the inner parent will always say, watch out, too difficult, you cannot, or doesn't. It's a parent interference. Yeah. If you don't cater to your inner child, which is the passion, the purpose, and these things, yeah, because it got hurt, because something was fragile, you need to flip it around and you need to use the inner adult, but get the interference of parent out. So then you go out of comfort zone. Then you can grow. Then you have the security, even though you take risks, you're rewarded. That's what it described. Now, if you understand, the science exists. I don't have to invent this. I train, one of the agents is trained on transaction analysis, only in the context, not to heal a trauma because somebody has to do with a therapist. Others can do. We focus only if you understand it and you get the information, you can make decisions deliberately of what you want to do in life. This is your imprint and you can steer it. It's very powerful. I had the same. I did not know about this until the age of 33. I did coaching in my corporate life. And I learned about the inner child and the adult because I was sat on two chairs. This one talks to me and this one talks to me. The adult talks to the child first and then the child to the adult. And when my inner child talked to my adult, I couldn't believe it. Who's talking? What is happening? Because the things exist. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel, as you said. It is scientifically proven information. It's put in a context only with a specific outcome in that sense, not to deviate because you want to have a specific journey, but it's your information and you decide what you want to do with it in a context, which is beautiful.
Florian, and what is interesting, right? Exactly, expanding a little bit more on what you said, that imagine when we are child, right? Everything is possible for us. Everything is possible. When we learn how to walk, we didn't thought about, oh, this is not possible. I won't be able to walk. I won't. So by default, we try until we achieve the goal, right? And this is exactly like you said, when you are 1 year old, right? But exactly what you said, when you're 2 years old, whatever, then the parents, they don't do it for wrong. It's just natural life. Don't do this, don't do that, don't talk to strangers, this is bad, don't do this, don't do that. Now you start to make story, and even if a parent said, hey, don't do this, then you make a story, oh, I'm not lovable.
And this is exactly it. And again, your brain takes 2 years to develop. After between 2 and 6, you recognize outside, cognizant, and then something happens. And as a parent, even with my kids, I have 5 kids, I don't know what was a moment when. It's impossible for me to know.
Exactly.
Only the child knows.
And they make a story about that moment, and could be a reflection on their own life after.
Harry, my own story. I was 5 years old, yeah, and we moved from the middle part of Germany to the Swiss border. I did not speak the dialect. My father was a doctor. My mom was a teacher. I was kind of the academic guy in a village where the boys rough, from the farms and these things, and they were beating me. And I wasn't afraid to death. I was just asking, why do they do this? Why are they mean to me? What has happened to them? Why, and it stick with me. And now this flipping makes my life meaning. My vocation is to instill in people the awareness, the power of doing good based on your own story, and you can deliver. And I've been doing this for many years. I wrote a book about it, and now I'm actually doing the Agentic AI platform because I want this
impressive.
to
Very impressive.
exactly. That's a pass. Yeah, that's a
And
story.
it's a big contribution to humanity. And like I said, to me, it took a lot of years and resources because you start to think like you do things that sometimes uh, you even like, for example, my first business is doing successfully, doing very well, a lot of money coming to me. I'm not doing nothing. My team sent me today to home, like I described to you. Guess what I do? I could take this money and travel the world and get the reward that I deserve because I worked very hard in my startups. I took the money, I opened a restaurant in Brick Lane. I lost 200,000 pounds and 2 years of my life.
Wow. Wow.
So why I sabotage myself? So like
By
I
the
said,
way,
I had to.
Inner parent is self-sabotage. That's inner parent. I love that you say, because exactly
Yeah.
that.
And I didn't understand clearly. And then after I lost this, I lost my girlfriend that I had at the time. I lost the money. I couldn't see my friends for 2 years, my parents, my family,
Wow.
anybody. It was a total disaster. Even thinking, I mean, I didn't jump out on the bridge, but I was really reflecting. I did something. I really need help. This doesn't make sense. Why I sabotage myself like that for no reason. And so that's why I described to you, Florian, that my work, my journey had been long. I've taken a lot of resources because from the early age, then I started business. Exactly what I told you. First, I had a big ego, then I dropped the ego, then I said sabotage myself. So every time something's happening, I'm like, what's wrong with me? And so very grateful. I'm still working. Okay, this work, as you know, never ends, and you keep learning, and you keep meeting fascinating people like you. That at least, Florian, I think that we're lucky that at least we are aware that existed, and we work on it. Can you imagine? This is priceless because there are people that live all their life without even realize that this exists, and this is tough. It's a hard life, right? Like, to be honest with
Absolutely.
you, like I'm on the space right now speaking to you, but on the space that I don't need to prove anything to anybody anymore. And
But you know,
imagine how can you live your life if you are from that space.
Harry, there's something specifically. If you vocate, if you dedicate yourself professionally to your vocation, you don't care what others say because it doesn't matter. It's not externally related. If you chase fame,
They
fortune,
cannot
and
get to
power,
you. Florian, they
yes,
cannot get to you.
yeah, it doesn't matter. If
At the
you are in fame,
beginning, everybody can get to me, and I'm reacting all the time because it's getting to me. My family, my friends, the business, everybody's getting to me. I'm reacting constantly, whatever.
because if you are on fame, fortune, and power, which is a fantasy, you depend on opinions of others to be liked, to be loved, to be seen. If you are on your own journey, you don't care. It's nothing against nobody. It doesn't matter. And so, for example, Harry, most likely, the exercise I do with people usually is I ask people, what is your earliest childhood memory? When you're really, really at 2 to 6. And normally people come up with, oh, yes, I was sitting there, I was walking there, I saw that. And then say, oh, yes. And when you understand that, you can see a relation to how you are and who you are today and what you choose when you make that link. And this is magical.
Thank you so much. Okay, Florian, if someone is in love with this conversation, how people can find you and how this process works?
So again, if you want to learn a little bit more on the book side, it's on-vocation.com, and you find the book and references in these. If you want to test the app, it is the moment to do. We will launch soon the beta version. I tested already with my team, and we are all excited. Yeah, you go to vocating.ai, yeah, and you can sign up for the beta. And also, if you are a student, we have a student cohort running now with a lot of universities, because I want to scientifically prove that the platform does what I want the platform to do for humans.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and it's as we speak, we are recruiting the students. If you are 18, between 18 and 28, any university you are, you can sign up and you basically go to vocating.ai/challenge. And you can participate, you can win prizes, you can co-create the product, and of course, you have a big information and tool for you for your future.
Florian, thank you so much. I think this conversation has been fantastic. And for all of you following the podcast, tune in our next episode of Unstoppable, how brave entrepreneurs like Florian break the wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.